said we would get to answering some questions that you guys might want answered here in these groups, and got started on one today that I thought I'd been hearing for quite some time from a lot of people, and I think is pretty pertinent to everybody wanting to be in this group and learning about link building itself. And so this is a good place for us to start. So Kingori asked, what are the best practices for blending guest posts, niche edits, and PBNs and other quality links together in order to create a effective backlinking campaign? And one thing to note is, there's a million different ways to do this. A lot of people do things a different way. I'm just going to give my perspective on how I go about link building. And it works for me because it's effective, but also gives me plenty of longevity as far as my asset goes. Because I don't typically want to build things that don't last a long time. That's never really been in my interest. Not really a spam user so much. But, there's a million different ways to succeed in SEO, and this is just what I like to do. So I think the first thing that I see a lot of people making mistakes on as far as building a link building campaign on is they budget out pretty much for, a month or two without thinking about the fact that SEO takes time. And even if you've got a good niche, there's all sorts of unforeseen circumstances that can arise as you're link building and as you're building out these assets. Sometimes you build out what you think is a great niche and the affiliate profits just aren't there. Things like that occur. So I think when you get started, one thing to really focus on is what is your budget. And I think a good way to think about that is that SEO takes a decent amount of time now if you're going after anything competitive. Or even like semi-competitive, or you're just new and maybe a little uncertain as to, what you're doing and you're kind of experimenting with stuff. For the first couple of years that I was doing this, it was a crash course in trying a bunch of different things and then not even understanding what I was looking for to really get an idea of whether I was succeeding or not. All of that stuff comes with time. So it's kind of nice to have an idea of what to look for. And so if you budget over a longer period of time, so let's say you've got $5,000 in the bank, you want to work on this one asset, so it's your one business, and all of these assets, whether they're a local website, an affiliate website, a network of PBNs, whatever it is, you should treat it like its own business because it operates that way. And so you should have runway. You should have an ability to have some foresight about what you're going to do with this asset. And so let's say you've got $5,000 and you want plenty of runway. You've been in SEO a long time. You're a little uncertain. When you start targeting 3-4 month projects, it means you're advanced. You've got an idea of how to link build, probably using bigger budgets, and it's more complex, and you've got to sustain that ability to kind of emulate these natural things that occur in the SERPs. So I think the best practice is to, have this mapped out to your abilities. So let's say you're a new person, you've got $5,000 to spend on this new asset you've bought. Give yourself 10 months, right? That's $500 a month for link building, which is more than enough to get started, moving yourself up in the SERPs. A lot of this is going to come down to the elbow grease that you put into this asset. So have you done proper keyword research? Have you done your on page? Have you really set yourself up for success on the back end? Well, if so, then, if you've got a decent sized budget and you know how to get links, or you know how to get links on your own, then, that's going to sustain you. The idea here is that you want again, going to step 2, sorry. You want a mix of a lot of types of links, very diverse anchors spread out over time. So a lot of people I've seen will have a $500 budget for 1 month. and then, things maybe resonate a little bit, but they don't get quite into the money, or, where they thought they would be after $500. You can't just keep throwing Hail Marys at something like this. What you need to do is press it over time. A way to look at that is buzz on the internet, what it actually looks like versus, what we're doing. Maybe you get some buzz, a $500 budget, you create this idea of buzz via backlinks going to your asset, and that helps give it some sort of life in the SERPs, but it doesn't quite get you where you want to go. If you press that over time and do a natural progression of, what looks like followers, engagement, people actively pursuing your brand as a relevant source for that particular niche, then you're going to have a much better shot of resonating for those terms that you want to rank for that are going to give you money on the back end. Typically from, if you've got a brand new site, that's going to take a little while. So you want to make sure you've budgeted it out for an ample amount of time. And you've thought about what targets you're going to go after over that course of time. You always want to diversify to the home page, inner pages, anchors from all different types of links. I use PBNs for long tail and naked, branded, all kinds of different things, which some people might think is a waste, but what is natural is for those things to happen in the SERPs. So if you look at natural buzz, if something is creating buzz, like, something that gets shared a whole lot, it's going to get a plethora of links from a bunch of different sources. Sometimes they don't even really make sense, to the rational mind, but they do in the search engine. We're talking about gaming an algorithm, right? So it's not a rational mind. It operates very correct, incorrect kind of wavelength. So you can get away with certain things that might seem spammy to us, which I've seen happen over and over again, especially, wielding that big PBN freedom links. We saw all sorts of different link profiles that led to the same thing, which was success in the SERPs. A lot of people might overanalyze what type of links they're getting. What really matters and what you should base all your decisions on, is not, don't get yourself into a situation where you're in Ahrefs and you're going, oh my gosh, is this spam? Like, it looks really ugly. It's some sort of weird profile link. I don't really know. Maybe it's got Russian or foreign anchor text, but it's indexed. It's in there. Trust what the organic rankings are doing. So if that's moving up, if things seem to be overall healthy, then understand that overall in the SERPs, you're still pushing forward, and then start manipulating with backlinks. It's a good way to trigger, inflections up, or some kind of volatility. Now, if you've got a rank graph that's going, straight down, or over time it's just casually declining, then yeah, you probably need to look into auditing the types of links that you've got. But overall, if you've got a clean, diversified backlinking profile going to a site over time, you're going to see a continual rank graph going up, rank boner, so to speak. Now, things to consider is, and this is why I say base it over budget, is, how does buzz occur naturally in the search engines? And I remember this was like a huge, light bulb going off in my head was when I saw this, because it was the first time I saw a friend of mine get some buzz via a post he'd put up on a, WordPress blog roll. And overnight, I saw a site that never had any kind of upward inflection get a plethora of it. And so look at this here, and you'll know that he had nothing going on for a long time. And then he put that post up, got a lot of press for it, and 1,800 backlinks overnight, 253 referring domains. And you'll see in the organic rankings that boosted them up substantially overnight as well. What's important to note about that is people talk about natural link building, right? And they go, well, you can't send, 100 links in a month. That's insane. Well, it really depends on how you go about doing these things. And that's why I say focus on your budget, because your budget is going to decide whether you can sustain a level of interaction that's going to keep your rank graph going positive, or whether it's going to look like you had some extreme buzz, you were really hot for a second, and then all of a sudden you fell off, and it's going to do the same thing to your organic rankings. Now, sometimes you can sustain a decent amount of monetization doing something like that very quickly. But again, that's a more advanced technique. Like, we're talking about people getting started and building their first affiliate website or their first local website, and they need to figure out how to use a specific budget effectively over time. Well, emulate a steady buzz. Imagine that it's a real world business, no matter what it is. Just picture it as that. It's got to have money coming in every month, and it's got to be trying to actively pursue new clients in order to get them every month. The way that looks in real life is, it's like a popularity contest. You have commercials going, you have people getting billboards, etc. It's the same principle as far as gaming the algorithm for Google. You're out there, you're procuring buzz. So you, as the business owner, you're stirring up buzz. Sometimes that means you're out there putting your name in directories, listings, etc. Sometimes you're in forums talking about your business or talking about different things within the niche that you're in. And so picture it sort of like that, and you can take that real world kind of idea in here. Now, the most successful advertising campaigns in the real world are very diversified in the way that they attack, what they're going after. And so that's what you should emulate here as well. I love that Kingori said blending, because that is exactly what my strategy is from day one. Even if it's a brand new site, the idea is to use a plethora of different types of links to pillow. And so I'll start off, not being too aggressive with money anchors, though I'll still sprinkle them in there. And based on the budget for that site, I'll have a backlinking campaign that'll emulate that amount of buzz that I think, is sustainable over time. And so, if you're talking about very expensive budgets and going crazy with them, effective campaigns can start off with something like a press release, and then emulating buzz through that, because it makes sense for something that's getting a lot of buzz from news related sources. And then you can increase, things like social signals to yourself, and really create a sensation of natural buzz occurring, and you're going to see this resonate in the SERPs. Now, the trick is that sustainable for 6-7 months over time, and it can be done. It's just having a huge network of links available to you. That's another difficult situation to accommodate, but of course we've built that over here at SirLinks. And so take your budget and consider that, and then don't overthink what you're doing. Just be random intelligent with it. So start off with pillowing, and don't just think that you want to save the more powerful links for money words or money keywords, money anchors, sorry. You want to mix things up. Over time, again, managing big PBNs, the way that I saw the most successful campaigns go, it was typically using more random techniques in order to create longevity, kind of insulate the site, and build it up that way. So even when I'm targeting inner pages, I do a decent amount of pillowing using things like niche edits, diversity links, things like that. With more random anchors or branded anchors or naked URL anchors, things like that. So when it comes to picking the type of links you're getting, everybody knows these guest posts, niche edits, PBNs, right? And when we talk quality links, there becomes this kind of blurred line of things where you'll see people in groups, and this is a long-standing thing. Well, is a press release considered spammy? Is using blog posts or blog comments spammy? And the answer is it can be. Anything can be spammy. Um, and sometimes people, I think, overanalyze things as spammy. Like, maybe the content isn't perfectly written. Well, so long as it's not spun and it's legible. I've seen, things benefit plenty. Like I've seen, people in third world countries who don't speak English very well write their own press release, extend it, and it's still helping them in the SERPs very well. So don't miscalculate, what you can do with ambition, with backlinking too. It's not going to be spammy so long as you're not, sending out a press release with a bunch of money anchors inside of it going back to your site. Blog comments, do what's natural, right? It makes sense for the company owner or company employee, so a random name or branded or naked anchors to be used in a blog comment, but using a money anchor to an inner page in a blog comment makes no sense. They're asking for the owner of the website and what the website is. So think analytically as far as what looks natural and what should be inside these links. Now, if you say like, hey, Nick, well, I've got this budget of $500, how many of each should I get? Well, there is no answer for that. The thing is you want to keep the algorithm guessing every month. So switch things up. I see people that got great success with niche edits. All of a sudden they just keep using niche edits until they bastardize the ability to use them anymore and get any kind of upward inflection. And why is that? It's because they've overused one specific type of link. It's a contextual link dropped into an existing article. These things can be calculated. PBN, same thing. It's a homepage link, pointed back with tons of power at whatever you're pointing it at. So all of these things done exclusively are going to hurt you. And all of these things done in moderation and mixed very well are going to help you. So don't ever overthink, I've got a $500 budget, $300, $400 is going to niche edits, and I can only get so many other links. It's just switch it up next month, or just keep things being guessed. If you do that, you're going to have a lot more luck keeping things moving up and keeping longevity to your asset. And I think, a lot of people, they'll get to a position here, speaking of this, where you sort of fear taking any step because you fear like they could all lead in the wrong direction. Again, just trust that rank graph. Start experimenting with things. There's legitimate suppliers all over the place, including us, that care about these products, and we've had success with them. Just keep building and then monitor what your graph is doing. Is it going up? Is it going down? And for how long? And based off that, then make a rational decision on how to audit your website. Now, remember, there's also hacks to accessing all these things or to moving things that might have occurred. And this includes things like 301s, tiered link building, or just starting off with an H domain altogether and building off of that. A lot of different ways to use those techniques blended in as well, along with quality monthly link building. Anyhow, I think, I probably went on some rants there because I'm just kind of freeballing this thing, but I hope that was informative and it helps a little bit with link building. But leave any questions you might have under here in the comments, and if I can clarify anything, I absolutely will. Thanks again.